Hi, everybody. I have Mr. Ben Joseph with me, and I'm trying to get this nurse brief thing kicking off, and I would love to introduce you to our little miniature podcast. So, welcome, Mr. Joseph.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So we were just kind of going through some different things. I'm like offering all these like little topics, and we've got so many things going on right now, not only in nursing, but in health and mental wellness and mental health, that I wanted to give him a choice of, pick whatever he wanted to talk about, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. I, so I a couple of years ago got really big into mental health. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I worked for a hospital-based system, and we were a rural health clinic. But um, I wear many hats. Along with that, I'm also like the deputy coroner for my county, and um, and of course, then I bring back tons of ER nursing experience as a provider and as a nurse, and so I got into therapy November of 23, actually. And I work with a great therapist. I still see him weekly, and I've become a big proponent for therapy, not only for my patients, but for first responders, um, healthcare workers. It's such an underrated, stigmatized service that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree. I believe in therapy for certain things. I believe in drop-in therapy more than anything. I have a psychiatric mental health and wellness practice. I like to get people better and get them out and living. And it came from Nurses Against Violence because of the fact that, the things I was seeing I couldn't unsee. And then the loss of my little one in 2024. Sorry, I still get a little caught up.
Oh,
September 1st, 2024, Allison. And then, 2 years prior to, my mom and then the nursing march and all of the fun things that just kind of balled up in one. I just kind of been taking a little bit of me time and trying to get it back together. So I understand. So my biggest thing has been grief therapy because I pretty much have everything under control. It's just, as nurses, we don't know how to process things because we're
no.
so dramatic.
Well, and we're taught really well to compartmentalize, and you compartmentalize that, and you don't worry about it, and you shove it down, and that works well and good until you can't.
Right.
The file cabinet fills up and then overflows, and then you have a mental break, and you either leave nursing or uh, you know, end up worse than that. I mean, look at first responders and how many divorce rates we see and alcoholism and drug use and things like that. And it's because they're trying to cope with the stuff that they're dealing with.
Yep. And the suicide rate is astronomical with nurses alone, much less, I can't even imagine when you first roll up on a scene how much more that affects you. Like I couldn't even put myself in that position unless I worked that job. My whole focus has always been about nursing, but I don't want to just focus on just nursing
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, just so the reason I got into therapy, a couple of different things. TikTok, there's a guy by the name of Travis Houts, and he talks to first responders. He's a former fireman, former Marine. And so watched several of his videos, and I was like, wow, like that really just kind of hit home. And that same day that I watched those, they went to my office, and my clinic coordinator said, just I don't remember what we were talking about, but she's like, "You're not normal." And I kind of looked at her funny, and I said, "Okay." And she said, "You put kids in body bags, and you come back to work and act like nothing's wrong.
yeah,
That is not normal behavior." And I kind of took a step back, and I was like, "Wow, maybe that's not normal."
yeah,
Um, and I knew that I wasn't to that breaking point yet, but I also didn't want to get to that point. I didn't want to be the person that my family hated,
yeah.
and so. I initially got into it with the idea of I just want to take care of this before it gets to be a problem. And then once I get into it, then I realize, that my alcoholic father, caused a lot of my issues, and I didn't realize it. And then that made me strive for perfection. And if I was anything less than perfect, then it was my fault. And now I've passed those traits on to my kids as well. And so it's a lot of reflection and trying to pump the brakes. And one of the things I've learned is to say no to things. I was the person who I worked 4 jobs and, volunteered on all kinds of committees and anything that would help the community, I would say yes, no problem.
Mhm.
And now I'm learning, no, I need to focus on you know, the unit I have here, and then the community is still going to go,
Right.
whether I'm part of it or not. But this wasn't, and so that has been my focus over the last year or so.
You hit something on the head that I have not talked about. So yeah, I had a lot of trauma as a child. Like my mom was not well. She was very much on the spectrum. That's been my focus of trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with my family. Well, the whole side, both sides, full, got nonverbal, just, yep, absolutely. So I was able to find the peace, no pun intended, or pun intended, whichever one. Um, so my mom left when I was 16, and my dad was just kind of like doing his own thing, and so I had to kick into high gear, survival mode. So that was, you know, everything had to be right. Everything had to be perfect. Went to school full time, worked full time, advocated for nurses full time. Like everything was full time. My kids were always number one. I dropped everything for them. You didn't know.
Well, and the amazing thing is that when you look at first responders and nursing in general, how many of us have childhood trauma? And it's that you want to be the person that you needed when you were a kid. And I
Yep.
think that's why a lot of us go into first responder and go into healthcare is because we want to be that person that gave a shit about somebody.
Yep. And then as a result, you know,
Then,
my oldest one left, and then my youngest one and I had a hard time.
yeah.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so I will sit and talk with patients now, and I'll be like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, because I feel like if I can help break the stigma some,
Yep.
then great. Um, so I will sit and tell them, I see a therapist. Both of my girls see therapists. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you go to your healthcare provider to get a colonoscopy or to get your heart checked out, why wouldn't you want to go get your brain checked out the same way?
Absolutely. And it could be, diving into functional medicine. I'm learning a lot more than I ever did. I even started I mentioned briefly that I started the FNP program with the university that I went to previously. And I'm just like, this program is trash. Absolute trash. And this is what Oliver Mine is going to. That's a totally different topic. But I'm learning way more about the body than I ever did in nursing school. And it's kind of embarrassing about how our gut has so much to do with our mental health, and that's not right. And a lot of people that are on the spectrum and that have focus issues and stuff like that, there's a reason. And it's not just you need another pill, right? I mean, our bodies are deficient in nutrients and vitamins and all kinds of things. We never learned this stuff. At least I did it. I mean, you
No, I've
know.
learned a whole lot more out. I mean, of course, I've been out of nurse practitioner school for 13-ish years now. Um, and it teaches you to pass boards and to get the bare minimum that you need to be a provider, and not knocking schools per se, but I think the true learning then is when you get out, and I can vividly remember my first patient by myself after clinicals and everything. And I go into the room and I'm talking to him, and I come back out, and I was like, oh shit, they expect me to know what I'm talking about. And it's just it's a little crazy. I mean, I did tons of research as a green nurse practitioner. I still do tons of research.
Yep.
And that's the other thing is I'm with my patients, I'm not afraid to say I don't know, or
Right.
let me go do some research on this, because I feel like I get a better response and I get more trust if I say, you know what, I don't know anything, I don't know much about this. Let me do some research. I'll come back in. We'll talk.
Yep.
As opposed to just kind of blowing smoke up their butt and going, oh well, it could be this, this, or this, but I would much rather go get that education, learn something about it, and then come back in and be like, well, let's approach it this way.
Mhm. I working on and mainly psych, I've always been at the bedside. Like, I mean, I'm sure, but I'm at like I'll sit with the patient. I will, I never like it would be very rare that I would be outside far away from my patients. Like I'm like, I want your hardest patient, give it to me. I just connect with people that are going through it for some reason a little bit more than I do people that are just kind of like, sure, whatever you need. Like I love a challenge, and for me, mental health just kind of came naturally because I've always had that survival mode. I've always had that like try to be able to be flexible, like the Matrix, just literally just try to dodge them bullets and no pun intended and no bullets involved, and just to really understand a little bit where this person's coming from because they probably came from a background like me.
Very true. Yeah.
Never know. You never know. Everybody's going through something. And I think that, and as a collective, as being in healthcare, right, we are being abused not only from our employers, they might not even realize it. But I've also done a video about how domestic violence is just like violence in healthcare. It's
Yeah.
like just taking it to work. And you're taking it and you're manipulating and you're doing all the things. I'm not saying every administration, not every employer is horrible. But what I'm saying is that the culture has to change and there has to be more than just like um, there needs to be a true anonymous reporting platform. I would love to be able to implement this. I would that like all I've ever wanted to do was just protect my profession, but um, I've you know that naive, I, being so naive, we'll just say, and diving into getting into protecting nurses and talking about this and stuff like that, I found that um, I am my own hero and that nobody is going to stick up for me. Uh, and nobody's going, as we, you know, have seen.
Yeah. I mean,
Social media can be pretty bad. And sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, and I think that post COVID, it seems to have gotten a lot worse. Even
So,
even from a patient side and from family members, you hear frequent stories of nurses being assaulted at the bedside, by either by the patient or by family members, and it's surreal to see and hear so much about it. And it's one of the only professions where it's part of what they expect you to take.
yeah, it's like, but it's not a part of the job. It never has been. And that's not, but they use that and they manipulate that and they take advantage of that from us because all we want to do is do a good job. When we get these new nurses out here and then we have the older nurses, I love the pit, by the way, like love the pit and how they're showing. You can even see the charge nurse on how she's starting to get a little bit more rough around the edges and there's something going on with her, and I love how they're depicting these like little things that are going on, these microaggressions, because they're turning into big aggressions that are literally turning nursing into corporate nursing, and it's burning everybody out. And people that have been in the field for a long time will more than likely not get out, but because they love what they do and they hope that it's going to get better. But then you get the new folks that come in and they're like, I'm out, peace. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. And it's unfortunate that they couldn't see how it was way back when I'm sure when you got started, when I got started, yeah, the nurse would bark at you, but they'd be like, hey, you want a soda or something? They would just like buy you lunch and be like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to come off on you like that. It's now just gotten to deal with it.
Yeah, it has definitely changed over the 20 years that I've been in healthcare. And I can even say, as an ER nurse, I was that asshole sometimes. And it was that the same mentality that you hear about with first responders, police, and firemen. If you can't handle this, then you don't need to be here, and that is so not the right mentality that we need to take. Um, just because we're jaded and we have seen things and it has made us, and we've compartmentalized those, doesn't mean that somebody who's new and has not dealt with that doesn't deserve a seat at this table or doesn't belong in this department. Um,
Right.
you know, and so I am trying to, make up for those transgressions of my own, just because it's like you get stuck in that mentality and then you don't realize it.
A lot of it is because of the corporate mindset. They want statistics. They want they want all of these things, all these task oriented things is turned and manipulated nursing into like this, like robot like creature. And that's something that administration has always been in fights with nursing. And even medical, like it's always been about the metrics and this and that. And with you, it's almost like, and even with myself, and I'm like the people watcher. I'll sit here and watch all of the chaos going on, and then I'll be the one that's like, "Hey, I got this patient," and then we switch out a patient if they're giving you a hard time. Then they're usually like the good guy, bad guy type thing. I can't say good cop, bad cop because that's just like not like I'm not going there. But so I would just be like, so this is also part of the violence prevention program that I developed. It's like, hey, I got this, you go, and then I de-escalated it, just kind of as their friend, but not their friend. Took care of the things I need to do. And some people won't trade. Some people won't do that. They'll be like, I got this, I'm fine. Mr. Smith, you're gonna listen to me right now. No, it's not gonna work that way. So I think a little bit has to do with we got this that superhero type mentality and we aren't. We definitely are not. Like I'm not. And but so what would you say? So I remember there was something really cute and fun that you guys did with me when I was on the your podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm not that creative. So I wanted to, so another thing I like to learn from people and I like to, you know, I think we can build a better culture in nursing and I think that we can all learn from each other. So it's, I was sitting here, I was like, what do I even say? Like, can you say banana 5 times? It's whatever. It was something like wacky. I was just like, I was already going through it as it was when we were doing your thing and your podcast, and it was like,
Yeah, we did 5 questions with you, and
was it okay? I
yep,
was
we
like,
had
it
the
was
same
something five.
yep, the same 5 questions to every guest to see how they end, and they were just random weird questions that we had developed, about
Oh,
the podcast, and it was
that's very creative.
what is your favorite medical word, and um, what is I think the most fun one, the question that we had was like, if you have $9.37 in your pocket and you're at the convenience store, what do you buy? Because that's one that you can always kind of get to know what people are, thoughts are, and so it was always fun to do that.
Yeah, I love that. So let's see. We'll do 3 questions and then I don't know, like I ask you this, like, so I ask you the questions and then you ask me. How did that go? I'm trying to remember. I think it was that you just asked me questions.
Yeah, we just ask you. Yeah, we just ask you.
Uh, okay, so what is the most dangerous phrase that you feel is in nursing? or a word. It could be a word.
I think the most dangerous phrase in nursing is, "What could you have done differently?"
Yeah, that's
You because we
that's
see that,
toxic.
well, and we see, you see memes about that where it's like, if nursing is the only profession where you can get beat up, and then your boss or your administrator is going to say, "Well, what could you have done differently?"
Mhm.
So
Yes,
that's probably the most dangerous phrasing in nursing.
I agree. What is the most enjoyable thing that you love to do? Like, would it could be in or outside of work?
Oh, at work, it's the puzzle. It's figuring things out, and knowing that you make a difference. Outside of work,
What are your favorite things to do, like hobbies? Do you have like a hobby that you have done for your personal?
I mean, we have a few things. Like, I mean, Tom and I still get together. He doesn't live local; he lives in Ohio, but we play Xbox more often, most nights rather than less. And honestly, it's watching my kids do the sports and stuff that they love to do. Um, my 13-year-old is in cheerleading, and so they just wrapped up their season. Um, and then my 16-year-old was in dance, and then wrestling, and so now she's going to be a NARP, is what she called it, which is a normal, average, regular person. She's not going to participate in any sports this spring, other than
Okay.
some off season wrestling for spring and summer stuff. But um, like watching her wrestle is really fun, and I didn't know that was something that I was going to enjoy, uh, but it truly is.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, you were doing gonna go watch her. I was just like, yes.
It really is fun to watch. And
That's pretty awesome.
her third day of wrestling her eighth grade year, she come home and she's like, "This is my sport." And I said, "Well, you said that about basketball and volleyball. Like, okay, it's good it's new." And she's like, "No." She's like, "If we're on the basketball court or the volleyball court and someone messes up, I, if teammate messes up and we don't get a point, I can't do anything to better that." She's like, "But on the mat, it's just me." And I was like, "All right then." So, yeah,
Pretty cool. It's pretty
she's
cool.
pretty awesome.
All right, so here's my last question because I'm all about what I do, and I would like to know if you've ever tried. Uh, what do you do for your self care?
I guess not.
Well, there's always another day. There's always that time. Not waiting for like New Year's. Like, can I share you with what mine is?
Sure.
Spacing myself apart and then not being fast to make choices as far as giving myself grace. So, and because it's very much like we can make very, very fast choices. We can do the things, and then we get really hard on ourselves,
Oh,
you
very
know.
much.
So that's for me personally, giving myself a little time, a little grace, and to just pretty much just not be so hard on myself.
Uh, I'm learning that.
It's
um,
hard for us.
it is. It is. Yeah. Especially the making the fast decisions, because in healthcare sometimes you have to make that quick decision.
Yes.
Whereas in home life, you don't necessarily have to make that quick decision, or um, taking on an extra job or taking on an extra committee. It's not a life or death decision that needs to be made that moment. And I'm learning that about, okay, you know what? Let's step back. Let's process this. Let's figure out if it's something I really want to do right now or not. So I'm working on
And
it.
that was hard for me too. I was in survival mode, right? I've
Yeah.
got to save, I got to save, I got to save. And I didn't save myself. I didn't save my kids. I did, but I did it. You know what I mean? I tried to do the best I could as being one person.
No,
So,
I totally
and
get it.
there are so many single parents that are nurses out there that it's difficult. And then you got kids with challenges, and it's not easy. So, grace, that's all we can do.
Yeah, one of the things that my therapist has talked about multiple times um, is like the song "Cats in the Cradle." You know, it's where uh, you're always too busy for the kid, always too busy for the kid, always too busy for the kid, and then when the kid grows up, they're too busy for you. And it was like he's like that just really hits home, and it's like the more you look at it, it's like yeah, that's what I don't want with my girls is for them to think that I was too busy.
So, I have to say it was the opposite. Nothing like, even though that I had all these things, I worked nights. So I worked around them, and they didn't realize that I worked around and went to school around them.
Hmm.
I would sleep 4 hours a day, and I would be there when they got home. I would be there if they were sick. I would be there all the time.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't go the way that you planned it to,
Very true.
because I thought they would still be here, you know? So it
Yeah,
is what it is. Grace.
working on that.
So yeah, we all got to work on it, right? Everybody's got something different that they have to work on. And I got to start working on being a little bit more consistent with my videos. It's been just hard for me to come back, but I'm getting there. But thinking about it's not going to make it happen. So I got to do it.
Yeah, I'm bad about that too.
It's like, because you get to this thing, it's like, well, nobody really wants to hear what I have to say.
Well, like
And
6 months ago or so, I wrote a book.
did
Um,
you? Oh
did
yeah. Yes.
and but I
Can
cannot
you do a
find
plug?
myself to promote it.
Can you do a plug? I want you to plug it right now, please.
Okay.
I think it's actually like really, really cool.
So this is the book
Yeah.
Before the Chaos, and it is a practical planner for life, death, and the mess in between. Um, and so I had seen some different like death planners and stuff on social media, and I thought I can make that better. And
Yeah.
so this one has three sections. The first section is medical information, so past medical history, um, family medical history, surgeries, everything that you would need when you go to your healthcare provider's office. The second section all talks about DPOA, um, HIPAA, uh, wills and trust, any of like the legal stuff that goes along with life. And then the last section is about things that you want done when you pass away. There's a checklist of what your family needs to do as far as who they need to contact. There is sections that are written in there, like blank sections to write wishes that you want, things you want done at your funeral, people you don't want there, people you do want there. And then there's in the very back of it is letters that you can write to the people that you want them to read it later on. And so the idea behind it is to kind of have everything all in one spot so that if you do pass away, that's pretty easy to find. It lists all your bank accounts and um, all of that stuff. So yeah, it's like I said, it's Before the Chaos. It is available on Amazon. So
How much is it? And this is great for everybody to be able to refer to your patients, and say, hey, there's a really great all-in-one book, and you can put your DNR, you can put all of your things in this one book. And so this way it's always going to be found, or whatever instructions and things that you have outlined in there. But how much is it? It's on Amazon. Before the chaos.
it's like 12 to
Okay.
14, I think.
Yeah, like we'll say about $15.
I didn't do it to go make a ton of money and to
Yeah.
retire. It's a service that I wanted to give.
Yes.
As the coroner, I see tons of people who, the families are obviously not ready for them to pass away. And so it's a lot of chaos. It's where the title came from. And the idea is to, and it's got the North Star on the front of the cover because it's kind of the that's the imagery that's all the way through it is you want to be this North Star that's still leading your family even after you pass away. And so that's what it's for. So
That's awesome. I really love that you did that because, my mom had a death folder. Like, I don't know. Like my mom was special. I love my mom. So, it's just very, very important that, we have people understand. And like, I'm sure you have in there about, how to do a will and all of these things. These are things that we don't even know what we want done, right? So nurses, I find this to be a like a great resource that you guys can not only get it for yourself, but you can also refer to your patients. Just like when you're talking about the advanced directives and you're talking about the DNRs and all of the things, mention Ben Joseph's book. I think that, before the chaos, I think that it's a very good thing. Could you just show it up one more time?
yeah, uh, it is before the chaos. That is what it looks like, and then there's the bottom of it. So yep,
So, Cochran, not Joseph.
that's okay. Yeah, no, that's just like a guy with Facebook. It's my middle name. Uh,
So, Dr. Cochran. So, thank you so much. Yeah, you can call me Dr. Spaghetti. It's okay. It's fine.
no, it's fine.
All right. So, thank you so much. I hope to have you on again. And, we will
Absolutely,
talk soon.
absolutely, sounds great.
Bye. Thank you.